give me a couple goods, you guys. Deidre, give me one.
Shoes.
Shoes.
Take hats.
Hats. All right, so shoes and hats. What's that?
I think you picked that better.
Shoes and hats. And the indifference curve shows our preferences for those two goods, kind of our internal human preferences, has nothing whatsoever to do with the marketplace. It's all about biology and maybe nature and nurture or whatever, right? It's the human being and their preferences. And so we learned that that indifference curve could be very steeply sloped, favoring one good or the other, or it could be really flat. In fact, I didn't do this one in class, but if you have an indifference curve that looks like this, I'll just put a little bit of slope to it. Are you a shoe hater or a hat hater? Shoe hater. Okay, so let's work through the marginal rate of substitution. So the marginal rate of substitution equals the ratio of the marginal utility of shoes over the marginal utility of hats. And if we look closer at that, that's related to the slope precisely, because it's the change in utility over the change in the quantity of shoes is the marginal utility of shoes, and the change in utility over the change in the quantity of hats for the ratio of those two. Flipping the denominator, multiplying it times the numerator to solve a fraction over a fraction, we end up getting the change in utility over the change in the quantity of shoes times the change in the quantity of hats over the change in utility. Those two buggers cancel each other.
On the rise of a run.
And we're back to rise of a run. Exactly. So we get the change in hats over the change in shoes. Now that's a lot of math we're working through, but I think it's helpful thinking about the trade-offs of how utility and this graph work together. Because it's saying, this is my willingness to trade a hat for a shoe. Now, is this slope a big number in absolute terms, absolute value terms, or a small number when it's steep like this?
It should be smaller.
It's small in negative terms, right? So which one's bigger, my rise or my run? My rise, right? So I got a big rise. So if I think about the rise over the run, I've got a big rise here and a small run. So what does that say about these two goods? It says if I'm moving this way along the curve from A to B, you better give me a whole bunch of hats to compensate for my loss of the shoes.
What I mean is a shoe lover.
Okay, so that's what we're getting at. Is it a shoe lover or a shoe hater? Now we can think about moving from B to A too. I'm more than willing to give up a whole bunch of hats if I can just get a little bit more shoes, right? So are we a shoe lover or a shoe hater?
Shoe lover.
Shoe lover.
Because he,
Yep, we're a shoe lover. That's right. So one of the things when the indifference curve is steep like this is it points to the thing you love. Think about this being like a little arrow. This was my little cheat memorization technique. It's pointing at the thing you love.
So if it was more curved up.
If it was more flat, it'd be kind of pointing at the hats, meaning I love hats.
and if it's equal, then they are both.
Or they're just more indifferent. Remember, the indifference curve is showing points of indifference.
So it's
I'm holding my happiness constant at 100 units of satisfaction, and I'm equally happy at these 2 points. So that's real important with indifference curves to remember that point, that I'm equally happy at point A or point B. And so the indifference curve points, let's put that in quotes, points to the thing you love.